YouTube channel. My name is NAFULA. If you've not subscribed to my channel, I highly recommend you subscribe. But if you've already subscribed to my channel, I just want to say thank you for subscribing. Thank you for sharing my videos. Thank you for watching my videos. And even thank you for putting a comment on my videos. So today I'll be talking about a very important topic. I was saving this topic towards the end when the DV lottery results come out. But then I just thought, like, when they come out and then you won and then you're in a rush to get everything together, it's important to have this information just ahead of time. So if you have to prepare for anything, if you have to save money, if you have to do all those things, you have all this time to prepare. So that's why I decided to do this video now at the beginning of the year. I will do another video when the results come out, but then I just thought, you know what? It's better to do this video now so that people can prepare financially in case they win the DV lottery. Before I even get to the topic of how much you need, or tell you like how much you need total when you win the DV lottery, you have to keep in mind that whatever cost I'm gonna tell you here, if you're applying and you're one person, you have to pay all that. So if you are married and it's just two people, everybody will need to pay the same amount of money. And then, like, if you are married and then you have children, either 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, everybody will be required to pay this amount. So if it's for the passport, all those people need the passport. For the medical, all of them need the medical. For the visa fee, everybody will need to pay that amount of money. So whatever I'm gonna say here, you have to multiply by the amount of people you intend to immigrate with here, which can be really expensive. So if you applied and you included, like, your spouse and 4 children, 5, whatever, and all of you win, or the principal applicant wins, then if they want to immigrate with all these people, they have to pay this amount of money. But then when you fill out the 260 and maybe you realize, like, it's expensive, you don't want to immigrate with everybody else because you can't afford it, you are allowed to do that. And in that case, you don't have to pay for these other people. You'll just have to pay for the one person who's a principal applicant. So it's important to understand that you only pay for the people who are immigrating in the United States. So if only the principal applicant won and they want to come here by themselves and leave the family, you only pay for your fee. But if you have to include your wife and your kids, you have to pay the visa fee, the medical fee, and the passport for all those people. So for some of you who've been following me from the beginning, some of you, I introduced you to the Green Card lottery, you didn't know it existed. And I told you, like, to apply for the Green Card lottery is free. And you placed your applications and it was completely free. And you're just wondering, like, okay, now that I placed my application for free, in case I win the Green Card lottery, is everything free after that? And the answer, unfortunately, is no. So the Green Card application is free, but after, in case you win the Green Card lottery, then there's a lot of money involved. So that's why I just wanted to, make you aware so that, like, when you win, if you have to sell land or if you have to do whatever you need to do, like, you have a rough estimate of how much money you actually required to process your visa and actually land in the United States. So if you win the Green Card lottery, what I'm gonna advise, don't sell any land, don't sell any property, don't sell anything, don't quit your job until you get the visa. So it's important that you don't sell anything until your visa is actually guaranteed and you're holding it and you're leaving the country. That's when you should start, like, thinking about selling your property and all that stuff. Because unfortunately, some people win and they go to the embassy during the interview and they get denied. So if you sold your land and also, like, you quit your job and then now the visa is denied, then we have a problem, right? So it's important that after you win the Green Card lottery, do not sell anything. Don't change your life until you actually have a visa in your hand. So I'm going to be taking you step by step. For last year, you realized, like, the passport wasn't required. So a lot of people applied, but actually they don't have a passport. Like in the previous years, they required a passport, so you had to enter your passport information. So everybody literally who applied for the Green Card lottery had to enter the passport information. So that meant that everybody had a passport. But last year, the passport requirement was eliminated or waived or whatever. So a lot of people who applied without a passport. So requirement number one, before you even win the green card lottery, you need to apply for a passport. Because for some countries, for some reasons, some countries, it takes a little bit longer to get your passport. And, you know, like with the green card lottery, time is of essence. You need to file and, you know, send things back. If you win, you need to send all the information back, fill the DS-260. So it's important you apply for your passport now. Don't even wait to win to apply. So just go ahead and apply for your passport, because, you know, even if you don't win the green card lottery, you might use your passport to go somewhere else. Not in the United States, you might go to a different country. You might need it as an identification. So you might use it in the long run. So just go ahead and apply for the passport. So the first requirement you will need is a passport. And for the most country, I speak from my country. When I was there, maybe the fee went up, but then it's between, like, let's say $60 all the way to $100. So it just depends. Like, you know, sometimes you have to travel to go submit the forms. You have to travel to go, like, you know, you have to take your picture, the passport photo and all that. So all that cost is involved. So this is just a rough estimate that you might need either $60 or $60 to $100 if you live in Kenya. But if you live in other countries, the cost might be a little bit different, might be cheaper, might be expensive. And with the passport, I realized, like, you know, the few other pages, I think the cheaper they are depending on the country. So you don't have to apply, like, for a passport that's, like, you know, a lot of pages, unless you travel a lot or anything like that. You don't need a passport that has, like, a lot of pages, because it's a lot of money. If you don't have money and you need to save your money, just apply for the basic passport. A passport, like, will enable you to fly out of the country. That's what you need. You don't need, like, these complicated passports or anything like that. So just apply for the basic passport, usually $60 to $100, depending on the country. And if you're in a country that is corrupt, like my country is corrupt, it depends how fast you want the passport. So if you want the passport within 3 days, or you want the passport within 3 months, or you want the passport within a month, it's sad to say, but sometimes you have to pay somebody to actually speed up the process. And so how you can go around it is to apply early. Like, if you apply now before the results come out, you will not need to pay anybody to actually get your passport. You just need to pay for the passport cost, because even if it takes like 2 months, it takes like 3 months, even if it takes 5 months, the Green Card DV lottery winnings will be announced, like, you know, you'll find out in May. So you have like a little bit 4 to 5 months. So you can apply now, so that you don't run into a problem where you need to rush to get your passport. You need to bribe somebody to get your passport. So make sure you apply for the passport now. So that's the first requirement. You need a passport to do anything after you win the green card lottery. And the passport is between $60 to $100. It can be less, it can be more, depending on your country. But that's just a rough estimate. So the second thing that will involve money other than the passport is gonna be your medical. So usually when you receive your 2NL, and, you know, you have to, you know, with the interviews and all that, you have to go for a medical checkup. Usually, like in Kenya, I think they say, like, it's in IOM. So you'll have to go for a medical. And guess what? Medical is money. So with the medical is a little bit different. So the cost of the medical varies. It can be from $300 all the way to $450 to $500, depending on what you need. So some people show up and they have immunization records from when they were younger, so they will not need to be vaccinated again. So they don't have to pay for the immunization. So those people will pay less than somebody who actually needs to be vaccinated. So for example, for your medical, for example, you go for a TB test. And then for those people who are, you know, the test is unremarkable, everything is okay, they're fine. But if you have to undergo like more testing, depending on your results, that costs more money. Immunization, like I said, like, you know, somebody needs to get vaccinated. Some other people don't need to get vaccinated. And when I'm talking about vaccinated, I'm not talking about like, you know, COVID vaccine. I'm talking like vaccination that are required for you to come to the United States. So those ones are a must, that you have to get them. COVID is a must too, but then like those you have to get, so you have to pay for them. Or if you have like, you know, you can do like a titer or whatever to find out like if you're vaccinated when you're younger, that costs money. So just prepare for the medical. You might need to pay between $300 and $450. For the medical, just put in mind that you might need additional testing, or you might need additional immunization, so you have to account for that. So between $300 and $450 or $500 for the medical. So number one, you need your passport, and number two, you need to get your medical testing, and that will be like, you know, either the TB skin test, the x-rays and all that stuff, the immunizations, that falls under the medical. And this one, they're not talking about your health. They're not talking like, you know, chronic conditions that you have. Like HIV won't be a factor here. They're just they're testing for actually like diseases that they don't want you to like, you know, spread when you get here. So it's just gonna be like TB and stuff like that that are concerning. They're not gonna test for HIV. They're not doing like all those tests about, you know, congestive heart failure. They're not interested in that. Okay, so we talked about the passport, and secondly, we've talked about the medical, which you'll need to pay for. The third thing that you'll need to pay for is the visa fee. If you go for the interview at the embassy, it is not free. You have to pay for it. And like for the most part, is a standard payment of $330. $330 for the principal applicant, and if they have a wife and they have children, every single one of you will need to pay $330. And this payment is usually made at the time of the interview. So when you go to the interview, you pay for the interview, and then you go to the next window where they do your interview. So if you don't pay, guess what? You don't get your interview done. So you have to have the money at the time of the interview. So just know $330, you have to have that money at the time of the interview, and you have to pay for each applicant, and you have to pay for the principal applicant, and everybody who's going to be immigrating with the principal applicant is $330. So I'm giving the figures in dollars. So, you know, I have followers from everywhere, so that wherever you are in your country, you can do the math and convert it into your currency, the local currency. Like 330, that would be like 33,000 Kenya shillings. So you have to have that. So if you have 10 people, you have to pay 330,000 for 10 people. If you have 8 kids and then you're a married couple. If you have 2, you just know it's 66. So you have to do the math and multiply by each member who's going to be immigrating to the United States with you. Okay, so we covered number 1, the passport. Number 2, we talked about the medical, which you need to pay for, and it depends on what you need done. And number 3 is a standard fee of $330 for the principal applicant and everybody who is included in the Waldivi lottery winning in the DS260. They'll need to pay $330. Okay, the fourth one that everybody has to pay is the green card, because once you get the visa allows you to fly out of the country. So it gives you permission. You go, when you go like, you know, to the airport or port of entry, you have to show your visa to get into the country. So that's a visa. That's not a green card. You have to pay for the green card again. And guess what? That costs money as well. So the cost of the green card is standard across the board, just like the visa fee, and it's $220. So $220 for your green card. So once you get your visa, so after you pay the $330 for your visa, you have to pay $220 to actually get your green card. Because when you get here for this amount, the good thing about the last amount, the $220, you don't have to pay it when you're in Kenya or when you're over there before you come here. You can actually get to the United States and apply and pay the $220. So you don't have to pay over there. The medical, the passport, and the visa fee, you pay over there before you come here. But the $220, good news is you can pay when you get here. So which means, like, you know, if you have a relative here or you have somebody who's gonna be hosting you, when you get here, depending on the relationship you have with them, you know, you won't get a job until you get the green card, right? So you can, you know, request them, like, you know, can you, you know, pay the $220 and I'll refund you, depending on your arrangement, right? But they have to agree to pay the $220. Otherwise, you won't get your green card unless you pay the $220. So, in conclusion, how much money you need? You need the passport, you need the medical, you need the visa fee, and then number 4, you need to apply for your green card. So all that amount total and see how much you need to actually be able to get your green card. And that's not all. That's not all. There's one more fee. That's not all. And why am I saying that's not all? Because if you're applying for the green card lottery and you're in Kenya and you're going to America, guess the fee that's left. You can't walk here. You can't take a boda here. You can't drive here. Guess what you need? You need to fly here. And what does that need? Money. You need money because you need to pay for the air ticket. So if you are the principal applicant, you need an air ticket for you, an air ticket for your wife, and then a ticket for, depending on the kids, their ages. The cost might vary depending on the ages of the kid for the airplane ticket. But for the principal applicant, just know that you need air ticket. Okay, so you're wondering, I want to go to the United States. How much is the air fee? So depending on your flight, depending on your comfort level, depending on the season, the cost varies. Like, you know, sometimes if you fly in the winter, it's more cheaper versus if you fly in the summer and stuff like that, depending on what's the season. If it's a high tourists are traveling here a lot, the cost goes up and down. So you have to put that in mind or keep that in mind. So I'm just gonna be like, you know, just a regular, because when you win the green card lottery, you don't need to pay for a two-way. So that's good. You don't need a two-way ticket. You just need one way because you're an immigrant. You're not a non-immigrant, you're an immigrant. So if you're an immigrant, you just need one way, because once you land here, you don't need to go back, right? So that's the advantage of actually the DV lottery. So you actually need one-way ticket. But as much as this one-way ticket is not gonna be cheap, right? Depending on what time. So I will advise just have $700 or over. $700 or over. It can be $700, can be $800, $900, $1,000 for the air ticket, depending on where. And then you know, it depends on where you land. Like if you land in a state and then you have to travel again, or whatever you're traveling, maybe the flights don't go over there, you might need to book another one to go to that airport, and that's money. Or you have to keep in mind that the air ticket will be over $700. So ladies and gentlemen, do the math. So the green card is not free. So I know I told you, a lot of you, when you met me the first time, we were talking about the DV lottery, telling you you don't need to pay anybody to apply. You don't need to do anything. You can just go apply on your phone, apply on your computer. That is correct. But that's just about anything free you'll get from the green card, the application. The application is free. After that, my friend, you need to raise money. You'll need money. Money for all of that. So just do the total. Over $700 for the air ticket, the visa fee, the green card fee, the medical fee, and then you need to apply for the passport, and this applies to everybody who's gonna immigrate with you, and tell me how much you're up to. So depending on, you know, whatever circumstances and how many people, do the math and see how much you need to prepare in case you win the green card lottery. Okay, so now that I talked about the important stuff that you actually need when you win the green card lottery, there's other miscellaneous, you know, costs that are involved too. So for example, you live in my village, like I live, you know, born in Bungoma. So if you're born there, you live there, you currently are there, guess what? There's no visa processing in Bungoma. You'll have to go to Nairobi to actually process your DV lottery winning and for your medical and everything else, correct? So if you know somebody in Nairobi, well and fine, you can request to, you know, to hang out at their house for a little bit while you take care of everything. But if you don't know anybody, you'll need to book a hotel or an Airbnb or whatever. So that costs money, okay? From Bungoma to Nairobi, you can't walk. Guess what? You'll need to transportation, either by bus or you need to fly there. Guess what? That costs money. If you like the content of my videos, please don't forget to share, don't forget to like, so that it can be recommended to other users on YouTube. And like I said, like, I don't encourage it, but if you're in a rush and then you need to process your passport really quick and you need to talk to somebody mlango ya nyuma, you know what, you'll need to pay for that, and that costs money. And then after you get everything to go to the airport, you'll need somebody to take you to the airport. That costs money. When you land in the airport and you fly all the way to the United States, if your host is good enough, they'll pick you up at the airport. But then if you made other arrangements, then you'll have to pay for the taxi. You have to pay for your transportation when you get here. So that costs money. So as much as the green card itself is costing this amount of money, you have all these other miscellaneous costs that you need to foot. So it's not just like, one and done. It involves a lot of money. Okay, another miscellaneous thing that you might need depending on your host. This depends on your host. Some people will not host you for free. So when you get here, either there will be like, 1 month free, and then when you get a job, then you can start paying rent. Other people, they'll be like, first month before you get here, you have to pay the rent. So you have to wire the money or send them the money for the rent before you even get here. And that costs money. When you live in somebody's house, they're hosting you. Don't expect like you're over there with 5 kids and you expect him or her to work and feed all your children plus yourself and everybody. You need to contribute because America is expensive. Here it's not like we don't plant anything in our gardens that we'll go and harvest or whatever. So everything you have to buy. The cost of living in America has gone up, way up. So literally you have to contribute in the household. So when you're coming here, I will advise just have a rough estimate of $2,000, something like that, $3,000, just to get yourself up and running. If you need to apply, maybe you go to the Social Security to get your card, you need to get something, you need to buy clothes, or you need to buy something, you'll need money. The host is not going to cover that. Some people do, especially if somebody is a relative or whatever. But for the most part, you get here and you're on your own. So if you're coming with the kids and everything else, depending on the host, then you'll need to have your own money. For myself, like if I host somebody, usually I'm very lenient, I understand like, they're coming from Africa. So you give them time to actually get a job and actually, get their life together. But most people are not like that. You get here and you need to pay for the bills. So you have to make sure that you're not a burden. They don't feel like you're a burden in their house. And the challenge I'm getting now, like even getting hosts for people, is because the cost of living has gone way up. Like stuff is like double the price. Some things are like way too expensive. Even the price just of eggs has gone up. So like if you're coming to my house and you're a couple with 5 kids, and nobody's gonna have a job, like am I really able to sustain and maintain all of you guys? You see, it's impossible. So people won't host you because they can't afford it. So it's important, like, even if you're requesting to be hosted, you're like, I can contribute this amount of money a month, so that they can actually feel like you're not gonna be a burden in their house. So just know that when you come here, don't expect somebody to foot your bill. You're coming here, but you need to be up and running. You need to be independent, and that costs money. And I think that'll be the end of the video. That was just a rough idea of how much money you need. I'll do another one when the Green Card DV lottery comes out. Maybe I'll have like, actual numbers just in case anything will go up or anything changes. Usually with the visa fee, it's pretty much standard, but you never know. The cost of living is going up. The fee might go up or might go down depending. So I'll do another updated video just to give you an idea on how much money you need. But green card application is free, but after you win, a lot of people don't make it here because they can't afford it. So just know that after you win, you need a lot of money. And every member of your family who is immigrating here again will need to pay the same amount of money. The fee applies to every single person, so it's not per family. It's not like the visa fee by family, no. It's every individual. And I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like the content of this video, make sure you like. See you in my next video. Thanks for watching.